For centuries, humanity has sought truth. From the ancient philosophers questioning reality to scientists meticulously observing the universe, the quest for what is genuinely real and verifiable has been a cornerstone of human endeavor. Yet, today, we find ourselves in an era where truth itself feels malleable, subjective, and often secondary to belief. Welcome to the post-fact world. In this age of abundant information, we are paradoxically struggling with a profound crisis of truth. Facts are debated, expertise is dismissed, and individual perceptions often outweigh empirical evidence. As our digital landscapes fragment into echo chambers and filter bubbles, the very foundation of shared reality seems to erode. This isn't just a political problem. It's a deep philosophical challenge to how we understand knowledge, reality, and our role as rational beings. How do we navigate this labyrinth of competing narratives? How do we find truth when it seems to be shouting at us from every direction, often contradicting itself? The term post-truth isn't about the absence of facts, but about a shift in their perceived importance. It is an environment where objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief. It's a world where my truth can outweigh the truth. Historically, philosophers have grappled with the nature of truth. Plato, with his allegory of the cave, suggested that most of us perceive only shadows of reality, mistaking them for truth. He argued that true knowledge requires rigorous intellectual pursuit, moving beyond mere appearances and popular opinion. Caves, where we willingly reside, mistaking the amplified whispers of our own group for the universal truth. Later, the Enlightenment championed reason and empirical evidence as the primary paths to truth. The scientific method became the gold standard, providing a robust framework for testing hypotheses and building verifiable knowledge. We believed that given enough information, rational individuals would converge on a shared understanding of reality. But the digital age has complicated this immensely. The sheer volume of information, combined with sophisticated algorithms that personalize our feeds, has created a fragmented reality. We are constantly exposed to information that reinforces our existing beliefs, shielding us from dissenting viewpoints. This isn't just an inconvenience. It's an epistemic crisis, a crisis in how we know what we know. Social media platforms, designed for engagement and personalized experiences, inadvertently create echo chambers and filter bubbles. An echo chamber occurs when a group of like-minded individuals primarily communicates with each other, reinforcing their shared beliefs and often amplifying extreme views. Filter bubbles are similar, but are created by algorithms that show us content based on our past behavior, further isolating us from diverse perspectives. From a philosophical perspective, this poses a serious threat to critical thinking and the pursuit of truth. Thinkers like John Stuart Mill argued for the importance of free speech and the marketplace of ideas. He believed that by openly debating conflicting viewpoints, we could arrive at a more robust understanding of truth, even if it meant hearing uncomfortable opinions. The collision of ideas, he posited, strengthens valid truths and exposes false ones. However, in the echo chamber, that marketplace of ideas is heavily curated. We are not exposed to genuine counterarguments, but often to caricatures of opposing views. which only serve to solidify our own convictions. This fosters a sense of intellectual invincibility and tribalism, where agreement within the group becomes more important than accuracy. The danger here is not just that we might believe false things, but that we lose the capacity to even evaluate what is true. Our cognitive muscles for critical analysis, skepticism, and empathy for differing viewpoints begin to atrophy. We become less like independent truth seekers and more like loyal members of a narrative collective. Why are we so susceptible to this post-fact phenomenon? Part of the answer lies in human psychology, deeply intertwined with philosophical questions of belief. Our brains are naturally inclined to seek patterns and coherence. Complex realities, nuanced arguments, and inconvenient truths require significant cognitive effort. Simple narratives, if any false, offer comfort, certainty and a clear enemy or hero. They reduce cognitive load and provide a sense of belonging to a group that gets it. This is what philosophers of mind and cognitive scientists observe. We prefer mental shortcuts, especially when faced with overwhelming information. Furthermore, our emotions play a powerful role in shaping our beliefs. As the philosopher David Hume suggested, reason is often the slave of the passions. We are more likely to accept information that aligns with our hopes, fears, and existing biases, even if the evidence is weak. In the post-fact world, purveyors of misinformation exploit this, crafting narratives that appeal directly to our emotional vulnerabilities. This also ties into the concept of confirmation bias, a cognitive bias where we tend to seek out, interpret, and remember information in a way that confirms our pre-existing beliefs. The echo chamber, rather than challenging this bias, actively amplifies it, creating a vicious cycle where our beliefs become increasingly insulated from external reality. The philosophical challenge here is, if truth is ultimately about correspondence with reality, what happens when our minds are so heavily programmed to prefer comfortable fictions? How do we break free from our own cognitive prisons and dare to confront inconvenient truths? So, how do we, as individuals and as a society, navigate this treacherous landscape? How do we find truth in a world drowning in competing narratives? Firstly, we must cultivate intellectual humility. As Socrates famously taught, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. This means acknowledging the limits of our own knowledge and being open to the possibility that our beliefs might be wrong. It requires a willingness to engage with ideas, not just to defend our own, but to genuinely understand. Secondly, we need to actively seek out diverse perspectives. This means intentionally breaking out of our echo chambers. Read news from multiple, varied sources. Engage respectfully with people who hold different viewpoints, not with the aim of converting them, but of understanding their perspectives and the reasons behind them. This aligns with Mill's advocacy for open debate, allowing for a more robust understanding to emerge. Thirdly, we must develop strong critical thinking skills. This is where philosophy becomes an indispensable tool. Question assumptions. What are the underlying assumptions of the claim being made? Examine evidence. Is the evidence presented reliable? Is it empirical or anecdotal? Is it from a credible source? Identify logical fallacies. Is the argument based on sound reasoning? Or does it employ fallacies like ad hominem attacks, straw man arguments or appeals to emotion. Consider alternative explanations. Are there other plausible explanations for the observed phenomena? Fourthly, we must recognize the importance of expertise and institutions. While healthy skepticism is vital, outright dismissal of established scientific consensus or credible journalistic bodies weakens our collective ability to discern truth. We need to understand how knowledge is produced and vetted in different fields and respect the processes that lead to reliable information. Finally, we need to foster a culture of truth-seeking in our communities and online interactions. This means valuing accuracy over virality, nuance over outrage, and genuine dialogue over tribalistic shouting matches. It's about recognizing that a shared understanding of truth is not a luxury, but a necessity for a functioning democracy and a cohesive society. The post-fact world isn't merely a temporary phase. It's a profound challenge to our collective consciousness. It forces us to revisit the fundamental questions of epistemology. How do we truly know what constitutes valid evidence? And how do we build a shared understanding of reality when individual perceptions are so fragmented? This is not a task for algorithms alone, but for human minds engaged in thoughtful reflection and courageous dialogue. Just as the ancient Greeks developed philosophy to understand their world, we too must sharpen our intellectual tools to navigate the complexities of ours. The quest for truth is an ongoing journey, not a destination. It demands vigilance, humility, and a constant commitment to critical inquiry. In a world full of echoes, let's strive to find our own clear voice, grounded in reason, evidence, and an unwavering pursuit of what is real. So, as you engage with the endless streams of information online and offline, pause before you share. Question before you believe. And always, always seek to understand, not just to confirm. The epical mind is one that dares to look beyond the shadows in the cave, to embrace the discomfort of complexity, and to build bridges towards a more truthful, shared reality.